So, hi guys, welcome to the the third installment to the 3D and Scratch series, and you may have noticed that I'm not really posting videos that often. Yeah, I may or may not have told you before, but I've got a lot of schoolwork to catch up, so I had to delay the next video for quite a quite a quite quite a bit quite a bit. Yeah, I said that before, but now but now it's but now I'm free, and I've decided to maybe fix the other videos. Well, no, this is not the first video about the third installment. There's actually an old version in my YouTube video. I'll probably give a link to that too. Yeah, it lasted an hour long. Well, I don't know why. If you want to watch that anymore, it's kind of boring. It's so basically it's just me yapping about this code again, and then in the end it didn't work. But well, hey, before we start though, before we start though, uh, you better go and watch episodes 1 and 2 if you don't have the code for that, as we're going to reuse the code. And as you can see here, I've added some improvements. I'll wait for you to copy them, and then we will continue. But first, uh, get the scripts from episodes 1 and 2. Okay, you'll need those. Well, you probably won't need the tetrahedron though, but I've added it anyways because wow, it's for fun, duh. Oh yeah, make sure to like and subscribe too. It um, helps me a lot, and well, trying to find out what time I should post the next video in these times. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, I'll state the improvements I made. If I I'll let you copy them. And for example, I've limited the go to Xbox. Well, this used to be a lot. Then I changed it to have two coordinates. So the first X coordinate, this is where the line starts, and then the second coordinate is where the lines will end in this X and Y, in this XYZ plane, as in here. I just basically copied this go to X block and just switch the X1s, Y1s, and Z1s with the X2s, Y2s, and Z2s. That's easy, right, to copy, right? And then for the next improvement, I decided to replace the broadcast block with a with a run without screen refresh custom block to make it faster and more efficient. So that's the main improvements for the code. And then you also will see these four custom blocks I made. Yeah, these custom blocks will be the blocks that will be the scripts that will allow us to rotate our 3D shapes. Yes, and I've probably forgotten to mention that, as this third as in this third installment we're finally adding rotation. And in the fourth episode, we'll talk about like filling in the shapes. So yeah, I better stop yapping and start making the scripts. So what I thought is that these three blocks, these rotation XYZ blocks, to calculate the rotation points for certain dimensions. Like for example, I thought I my thought was that the rotation X block will check will handle the rotations between both the X and Z axis. The rotation Y will handle the rotations on both the Y axis and the Z axis, and the Z axis will is basically the rotation on the X and Y axis. Yeah. And in this rotation Z, this is actually going to put the data inside here, for example. Yeah, it's going to put its data here, which in this will actually calculate where to put the points when we rotate. You'll also see some variables I made. These are to control the where the sprites, where the cube or where the shape rotates, like what direction and what value. So the vertical point handles the vertical rotation, and the horizontal point is the horizontal rotation that is on the y and z axis. Vertical is the x and z axis, or maybe it's inverse, and maybe it's the inverse. I don't know what's vertical or horizontal. Sorry. And the z rotation, well, this variable will check the rotation on the x and y axis. Yeah. And these ex ey ex ey ez, well, they're going to be where the point coordinates of these points are when the shape is being rotated. Okay, these will be in the point block, and the x's and sy, well, they're basically they're basically the values of the points of the coordinates when they're after the shape, after the 3D shape has been rotated. And these move x y z blocks, yeah, they also reserve the same function as the ex ey ez, and uh, these move x, move y, move z, they're going to be the ones that we're going to change. And if for example this move x changes, the ax will change by the same value. This is going to be like the controls, like we're gonna set control values in this control script I made. Oh yeah, for your information, these blocks, they're all run without screen refresh, okay? Just to make them very fast. Most 3D projects in Scrap rely on that concept. Without that, and it would have been way more difficult to make 3D shapes. Oh yeah, and all these variables too, uh, they're all for this part only. For this part only. So after I've explained what each variable does, what the variables do, and what improvements I made, and the function of these new blocks, we're now going to actually add them in. But first, before we use them, we need to actually set some values for them. We can't just leave them by 0, you know. And speaking of 0, we're going to set all those values to 0. Well, most of them as. On the when a green flag click block, we want to set them when we first to 0 first when we start the green flag. We basically set all the variables here on the stage that I've shown all to 0. This is gonna take quite a while, so you can skip this part if you already have. I probably may have forgotten pause pause to pause for you to copy the improvements I made. So yeah, you make a controls block here, put this before the generate shape, which is well actually how the cube will be how the shapes will be generated. These are the first improvements. You could pause here if you want. Then move on to the second improvement, which is we're adding these blocks and the variables here. I'll pause. I'll stop here for now to wait for you to copy. You can pause. You can pause here as I'm going to start adding the code for that's going to be inside these custom blocks. But before that, we need to actually be able to change the values. That is, we'll change these values in the controls block. So now we're going to grab set. So we're going to change the move x, move y, move z, move z. We're not going to change the xx, sx, and sy. No, these will be. I've told you before. These variables will be the point. Will be the points that the will be the coordinates, or the points will go after the shape has been rotated. But we'll do changes both the vertical and horizontal point variables. And let me check. You're gonna remove that extra duplicate. Yeah, you should have 5. You should have 5 extra variables in the controls. So okay, for what keys we'll assign, well, you can choose any key you want. So the move x, oh wait, I remember the move x and actually don't really need changing. They just by the key inputs, they're actually going to change when we are not pressing the inputs that we will put in the horizontal and vertical point. Sorry, my bad. So for the horizontal and vertical point, well, it's kind of your choice, but for my case, I'll set the vertical point to the Q and E keys on my keyboard, and for the horizontal point, we'll go for the Z and X keys. However though, we're not going to change the move X and move Y. We're actually going to change the move Z. Well, remember the move Z is what will control the rotation on the X and Y axis only, not including the Z axis, okay? But okay, but what happens if the angle it was already tilted and we changed the move Z? Well, the X and Y are have just been changed. the Z, but the Z position also changes. But no, the but no, uh, we were this movie will actually what I'm trying to say is that this movie will will handle the rotation of the faces of the cube, not the entire shape. I'll set the movie in my case for the R and F keys. R and F keys on my keyboard. Oh wait, never mind. The Z rotate is actually what changes the sorry, like I like, even a teacher can forget sometimes, You know what? I'll just set the move Z to just the Y and H keys. Oh yeah, one thing. We'll set the EZ to 200. You'll see why. Okay, maybe we'll just set the EZ to 50 because of 200. I think maybe bad. Maybe bad. So okay, now that we're able to change, but although we aren't finished with the control slot yet though, because we still need to change the move X and move Y. Well, not by pressing any key inputs though. Instead, uh, okay, wait, I was thinking there for a second. So for the move X, well, we're going to set this to when we are not where we're not rotating on the where we're not pressing any keys that will trigger the rotation on the x z axis or the y and z axis. So you see, for a clever trick, instead of not q minus e crest equals 1 or q minus e crest is equal to 1 to check both the q and e inputs, I just instead put the absolute value function in the q and e blocks and just set 1. Well, this works because the absolute version will like it's going to spit out a positive value, not a negative value. So that also works too, and it is shorter too. Sorry, my bad. Then we'll also do the same for the horizontal point 2. So we'll delete this, grab that, then we'll set sorry, not EX, move X, and then move Y. And then move Y to the original times 0.9, or 90% of it for nerds. That is then that is well then check for the cam Y. The cam Y, which will be the up and down there, the up and down arrow keys. We'll copy that. Then we'll set move Z to the move Z, just like the move X. And then this is where we're going to change the EX and EY by move X. We're going to change EX by move X, EY by move Y. And you're probably thinking, are you going to also set EZ? Right, sorry, I mean these should be change variables. So like are you thinking, should you also change EZ by move Z? Well, yes, you're correct, but we're going to have some limits to how big the shape is going to be, so we're going to have to put this in if else. We're going to change EZ by move Z, not move Y. And in the if the condition is true, it's going to change the EZ. You'll get, if the move Z plus the EZ is greater than 65, well, that's the size of it. That is the minimum. That's the minimum range. Z plus EZ. Then we'll set EZ by 66. This will be the maximum. So now if you see here, the cube is changing. The cube can still move though, okay? Sorry, my bad. Oh yeah. we're not actual. These are all gonna be change variables. Sorry, I was lying to you all the time. Just to get, just to get on your nerves a little bit. Okay, but I know I shouldn't be doing that. But anyways. So yeah, I was waiting for you to finish. So now, after we've now able to change our variables, I'm now going to hide them now for now, so that we can see the screen better. We're now going to add in what will make our shapes rotate. So in the rotation X, put in rotation Y, rotation Z, and then point. And then point. So now in the rotation X, get a subtract. This will be Y, this will be plus, and the angle will be our horizontal point. Horizontal point, that's the variable that will change our rotation on the X and Z axis. So in the pluses, put 2 multiplies. And then get these blocks, the cosine and sine. So what do these blocks do? These will correspond to the angles of our tetrahedron, and the angle will be given in the GoToX after we plug in the rotation X block into our GoToX block, which we haven't done yet because we aren't really finished. Put these, and then for the X, and then we'll get an X causal angle. This will be like one of the this will be the first angle. Then this will be the Z times the sine of the second. Then on the third will be the Z times the cosine of the angle. That's the third. And okay, that wasn't supposed to happen. And for the fourth, that will be the sine. This will be the X. We've completed the first one. Now we need to do the same for the rotation Y and Z. So the rotation, Well, the input for the rotation y is similar for somewhat similar for the rotation x. You just copy this, and for the y, you put this here. We're going to remove the angles because we're going to remove the x values because we just copied it from this. So we're going to copy from this. We're just basically copying this from to this. Okay, these two z's are not the same. This is from this, and this is from this. Okay, make sure to keep that in mind and don't really get confused. Okay, and then this will add y times the cos of the angle, the first angle, and the sine of the angle. That will be the z. And for the z, well, plus. Again, we'll switch the values here. And for angle, this will be our z rotate. This will be a z rotate variable. That's the variable that will check like the rotation on the z-axis. So it's going to rotate each face of the cube, or tetrahedron or whatever shape we made. So this is the rotation variable. And we check if we have used the z rotation. Yes, we did. Go back. Then for the rotation z, we will for the x, of course gonna remove these, and for the x, that will be the cos of the angle, and y minus the sine of the angle. That would set that's the second angle. Then for the y, it's the same thing, but it's the plus and the y and x will swap values. Then for the z, we can just for the angle, I mean, this will be the z. Okay, so now we've put all the rotations. So rotation x will calculate. If we recap, rotation x will calculate the rotation. Will handle the rotation between the x and z axis. Rotation y will handle the rotation on the y and z axis, and the rotation z will handle the rotations between the x and y axis of our shape. Then in this point block, this will actually set the coordinates, and that is, it will tell the points where to go. In the point, this is now where we're going to make use of our sx and sy. Get those. We're going to make some room. So in the xs, we'll get we get a plus on both sides, plus on both sx and sy. Then get a divide. Well, the sy is basically the same as the x's. Instead, we just change the x's with y's. Then on the first division side, get a multiply. On the second, get a plus. Then in the multiply, you get another plus. On this one will be the x. The addition will be x. On this one will be the z. And in the notice this will be the easy ex, which you have set in the controls. And with the plus z, we'll add ez with ez. Then we'll duplicate this and we'll switch the x's with y's. Actually, this one is actually ex. This one's actually ey. So you're now able to calculate where to set the points after the shape has rotated. So now we need to actually put them here. But before we add the rotate x, we're going to have to actually we'll add the sx and xy variables, or the shape is not going to rotate. So in R, we'll divide by sx in the x position. So I already know this should be okay, wait. Yeah, okay, I'll just set it here, sx. I'm uncertain, okay? This is my second try on this, and it probably may or may not work. Probably may or may not work, okay? So feel free to fix the problem along with me. and rotation x, x1, y1, z1, x2, y2, z2. I'm certain. Then for our angle, this will be our vertical point. Uh, right, so we have vertical point. And I hope if that works. Yeah, it it's it didn't work. Oh wait, though, it somehow is working though. We do. We do have disjoint looking cube. So yeah, we can't really work with our go to X blocks. So we're going to have to replace them. Well, oh hey, this is long lasted. This is long lasted. Okay. This is long lasted. So we'll make a new variable, zoom, for this part only. And we'll make it a slider. And I'll change the slider range. Okay, I was checking the slider range. Okay. Sorry, I accidentally clicked the backpack sprite. Sorry, just check. SX. Actually, in fact, I realized that we don't really need our X1s, Y1s, and Z1s here. We can just, well, put this here. Our zoom, which we can change. Then again, then again, yeah. Yeah, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. I'll experiment it with our FOV variable and see if that works. And if that doesn't work, we'll set it to a zoom. Then we'll set this to a CamX. Then we're also gonna multiply it with our FOV2. Where then got our FOV. No, just multiply cam z with 0.1 is the same as multiplying 0.1 with chem C. Wait, I forgot. You have to add chem y to that, or else you're not actually going to move you on the y-axis. The cube is not going to, yeah, is not going to move on the y-axis. Okay, so chem y. Put that there. Kaboom. Then we can just remove these and duplicate this. Let's see if that works. Okay, that just deleted our deleted our cube. Okay, maybe the 0.05 times FOV didn't work. Then let's try. Oh wait, I do see the dot though. It's unfortunately in front. Is unfortunately at the front. How to fix that? Wait. I'm trying. Okay, so the FOV didn't work. Okay, still wait. I do see a small cube. I see a small cube. I see a small cube, but why is it that small? Okay, so we have our small cube. Yeah, we will have to increase our size by a pretty large amount, I should say. Oh yeah, maybe we should multiply by a large amount because our cube is very small. But yeah, I think after multiplying, that's probably it. Okay, um, if you can find out what size is needed, then that means this tutorial is completed, and it's up to you now. Yeah, bye bye. It's like 15 minutes long, and I gotta sleep.